Welcome to Shredder Fanfic. Like, subscribe, and hype video. Join members to gain early access to new videos. After the main character dies inside of his previous life, he wakes up inside of DC. Inside of DC, he has the ability to summon SCP. What is he gonna do?
DC. Reborn with SCP summoning system. Start with SCP-49, Plague Doctor. Chapter 1. A Laugh in the Alley. The sound of tires came first. Then light. Then nothing. When I opened my eyes again, the world was wet and grey. Rainwater pooled around my shoulders as I lay in the middle of a narrow street. The pavement smelled of oil and iron. I blinked until my vision steadied, then pushed myself up, feeling the weight of my own body. My chest rose and fell slowly. I was breathing. I was alive. My hands shook when I looked down. No blood, no wounds, no broken bones, just the faint echo of pain that faded with every second. The air tasted metallic. A billboard nearby flickered, its lights stuttering through the mist. Gotham City Transit Authority. The words hit me hard enough to stop my breath. Gotham. I knew the name, the skyline, the stories. A cold wind swept down the street, carrying laughter. It was sharp and uneven, almost childlike. I turned. A man in a purple coat strolled past the alley's mouth, his shoulders swaying as if the night played music only he could hear. His green hair glimmered wet in the rain, and his pale face gleamed like porcelain under the streetlight. Red smeared across his mouth, too wide to be natural. The Joker. He passed without looking at me, humming between chuckles, boots tapping lightly against the concrete. My pulse stayed steady as I watched him disappear into the mist. I'd seen him before, on screens, in stories, but this wasn't fiction. He was alive, and that meant this world was real. I stood fully, brushing water from my clothes. My reflection in a puddle showed a face that wasn't mine. Different jawline, different eyes, but it moved when I did. I didn't panic. I'd died once already. That was enough panic for a lifetime. Then a sound broke through the rain. Ding! It came from nowhere and everywhere at once. Clean, mechanical, direct. Words appeared before my eyes, faintly glowing. System activated. Summoning protocol unlocked. Available entity, SCP-049, the Doctor. A slow grin spread across my face. The absurdity of it all almost made me laugh. I was standing in Gotham, where gods, monsters, and lunatics shared the same streets, and now I could summon one of the SCP Foundation's most infamous anomalies. Let's see if this actually works, I said quietly. The air thickened. A low hum vibrated through the pavement beneath my feet. The light from the street lamps dimmed, colors draining from the world until everything felt cold. A faint grey mist spiraled upward in front of me, coalescing into a shape, tall, lean, and draped in black. A bird-like mask reflected the streetlight. Leather gloves adjusted the strap of a worn satchel. The smell of old antiseptic drifted through the rain. SCP-049 stood before me. He straightened, turning his masked face toward me. When he spoke, his voice was calm, deep, and precise, as if every syllable were measured. "Ah, I see. A new summoner, then. You have called upon me, young master." "That's right," I said. My tone stayed light. "You can call me Apex." He inclined his head politely. "Apex, an unusual designation. Tell me, have you summoned me to assist in treatment? The air here reeks of decay. I can sense the pestilence strongly." My eyes flicked toward the direction Joker had gone. You could say that. Gotham's full of infection, the kind that talks and laughs. 49 turned slightly, following my gaze. "Then it is my duty to begin at once." "Good," I smiled faintly, the sound of rain softening around us. "There's a man with green hair and a purple coat walking that way. He's infected worse than anyone else here. Go find him. Do what you do best." 49 bowed his head once. "As you command, Apex, I shall begin his treatment immediately." Without another word, he stepped away, his boots barely making a sound on the wet street. The fog seemed to follow him, curling around his cloak until he vanished into the shadows where Joker had gone. The laughter in the distance faltered once, then resumed, echoing faintly against the brick walls. I stood alone again, the city's heartbeat thrumming through the rain. Steam rose from a nearby grate, drifting across the street in slow ribbons. My reflection stared back at me from a puddle, foreign, calm, and alive. I took one slow breath, then turned down the opposite alley. The streetlight flickered once more behind me. The night in Gotham was just beginning. Chapter 2. The Doctor's Cure. Rain dripped steadily from the edges of rooftops, forming narrow streams that ran along the cracked pavement. Gotham's streets were nearly empty at that hour. The lamps flickered weakly, fighting to stay alive against the cold wind that pushed through the alleys. The distant sirens, the hum of a subway beneath the city, and the faint clatter of something metallic far away gave the air its rhythm. SCP-049 moved through the streets at a measured pace. His boots pressed quietly into puddles, each step deliberate and steady. The scent of rot and old water clung to the air. He carried himself with an old-world precision, the folds of his black coat brushing against his knees as he walked. He looked neither left nor right, only forward, his gaze sharp beneath the shadow of his hood. He had followed the scent since the moment Apex gave the order. The infection was easy to trace. To his perception, it was everywhere here, festering in the air, clinging to the very bricks of the city, but there was one presence that stood out above all others. Chaotic, vibrant, rotten. The doctor's voice broke the quiet. "Yes," he said softly to no one. "This must be the source. Such density of disease cannot go untreated." He turned a corner into a narrow lane behind an abandoned theater. Broken posters clung to the walls, the faces of long-forgotten performers smiling through peeling paper. A faint humming echoed somewhere ahead. Then laughter. It was sudden and sharp, spilling through the air like an instrument out of tune. The doctor stopped, head lifting. His gloved fingers flexed once before returning to stillness. Ahead, under a broken streetlight, the Joker crouched over an open briefcase. He was carefully sorting small metallic spheres, bombs by their design, each one painted with bright colors. His lips moved as he counted under his breath. 13, 14, 15, he paused, looking at the last one with a smirk. "And you, my little darling, are going to be very special tonight." He held it up to the light, inspecting the fuse. "Yes, yes, yes, you'll make them remember." His laughter returned, uneven and high. 49 approached quietly until the sound of boots splashing in water reached the clown's ear. Joker froze mid-motion, then slowly turned his head. His eyes, green and alert, settled on the tall black figure standing several feet away. He blinked once, then smiled wide. "Well, well, look at this. Someone dressed for the plague parade. What's the occasion, Doc? Cough season." 49's tone was even. "Good evening. You are infected." Joker's eyebrows rose. "Infected? Oh, that's cute. What do I look like I've got the sniffles?" "You bear all the marks," the doctor said. "The stench of corruption, the symptoms of delusion, and the persistence of decay. But do not worry, I am here to cure you." The Joker stood, letting the briefcase fall shut with a click. His grin never faltered. "Cure me? That's new. Most people just want to lock me up or shoot me. You come with a prescription." "Treatment," 49 corrected. "A precise and permanent correction. You will be well soon." Joker chuckled, stepping closer. He moved with a casual sway, his hands loose at his sides. "I've met a lot of quacks, Doc, but you take the cake. That mask, classic touch, by the way. Tell me what's underneath. Burns, scars, acne, or are you just shy?" The doctor didn't react. Masks are a necessary measure. The pestilence spreads easily. Joker tilted his head, eyes glittering. "Ah, I get it. You're one of those guys. Big on hygiene. Probably carries hand sanitizer in his soul. Tell you what." He spread his arms wide. "How about we make a deal? You tell me what this little pestilence thing is, and maybe I'll let you walk away without losing a finger." 49 took one step forward. You are not in a position to negotiate. The pestilence must be removed. Joker smiled wider. Oh, I love it when people talk like that, so serious, so final. He reached into his coat, fingers brushing against a blade's handle. The glint of steel flashed under the streetlight. I'll tell you what, Doc, Joker said cheerfully. You try your little cure, and if I don't like it, I'll return the favor. Fair. 49 stopped just outside arm's reach. You will feel only a moment's discomfort. The Joker lunged, knife sweeping in a quick horizontal cut. The blade scraped across 49's sleeve, slicing the fabric but not the flesh beneath. The doctor moved with quiet efficiency, no wasted movement, no visible strain. His hand shot out and gripped the Joker's wrist, twisting it sharply. The knife clattered to the ground. Hey, Joker shouted, struggling. Hands off. I didn't consent to this examination. 49's tone didn't change. You struggle against salvation, typical of the afflicted. Joker kicked forward, boot connecting with the doctor's leg. The blow did little. The doctor's grip tightened, forcing Joker down to one knee. Now, 49 said, hold still. His gloved hand reached for Joker's neck. The clown reacted fast, pulling a small cylinder from his sleeve and slamming it against the doctor's chest. It hissed, releasing a burst of purple gas. 49 stumbled back slightly, releasing his grip. The gas curled around his mask. Joker jumped up, coughing once, then laughing. Oh ho ho, you like that? I call it smile juice, straight from the lab, guaranteed to knock the frown off even the stiffest faces. 49 waved a hand through the smoke. Toxic fumes, a primitive attempt at pest control. Joker stepped back, still grinning. Primitive, buddy, this stuff's art. He reached into his coat again and pulled out a revolver painted in green and purple stripes. He spun it once around his finger. Now, let's see if laughter really is the best medicine. The first shot rang out. The bullet struck 49's shoulder, tearing through the outer layer of his robe. He didn't fall. He didn't even flinch. Joker stopped spinning the gun. Ha, that's supposed to get a reaction. 49 looked down at the hole in his robe, then back at Joker. You continue to resist treatment, I see. He advanced again. Joker fired twice more, backing up until his heel hit the edge of the curb. The bullets struck, but the doctor kept moving, each impact absorbed as though he were built from something denser than flesh. Joker lowered the gun slightly, smiling again but less sure. Okay, you're a tough one, I respect that. But come on, nobody's bulletproof unless they're wearing bats on their chest. 49 raised a hand and seized the gun, wrenching it from Joker's grasp. The metal crumpled easily in his palm. He dropped it to the street. Joker looked down at the ruined weapon, then back at the doctor. All right, that's impressive. But you know what I always say, Doc, if at first you don't succeed. He pulled another device from his pocket, a small detonator, and pressed the button. The briefcase several meters away exploded in a burst of colored flame and smoke. Shrapnel flew across the street, tearing through the air. 49 turned slightly, shielding himself from the heat. The blast threw Joker backward, knocking him against a wall. He coughed, laughed once, then twice. Ah, now that's good therapy. 49 stepped through the smoke toward him. You are persistent in your illness. I admire your endurance, but the pestilence will not be overcome with defiance. Pestilence, 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 Joker mocked as he pushed himself up. You keep saying that word like it means something. Tell me, Doc, is it contagious? Can I give it to the bat? Because if so, I might just keep it. 49 extended his arm. It already consumes you both. Joker swung again with a pipe he picked up from the rubble. The doctor caught it easily and twisted it out of his hands. He moved closer until the edge of his beaked mask was only inches from Joker's face. Be still, 49 said quietly. I will make this swift. Joker's eyes darted left and right. His grin faded slightly, replaced by focus. He pulled a small blade from his sleeve, hidden until now, and slashed upward. The blade glanced off 49's mask, scraping harmlessly. 49's patience thinned. His left hand clamped down on Joker's shoulder, forcing him back against the wall. With his right, he reached again for the neck. "Hey now," Joker said quickly, laughing, but with a hint of tension. "You really don't know how to take a joke, do you?" 49's voice was calm. "No, only symptoms." Before he could make contact, a sudden noise echoed from above, a thudding impact, sharp and heavy. Both paused. A figure had landed on the edge of the nearest rooftop. The rain blurred its outline, but the cape and cowl were unmistakable. Joker's grin returned instantly. "Ah, speak of the devil in Kevlar," he waved up at the roof. "Batsy, you're just in time. I'm about to get my annual checkup." 49 looked up briefly, but did not release his hold. "Interference will hinder treatment." Batman's voice carried clearly despite the rain. "Release him, now." Joker laughed harder. "Oh, I like this. Doctor versus Bat. I should be selling tickets." 49's grip remained firm. "He is infected. I must complete the cure." Batman dropped from the rooftop, landing several feet away. His eyes moved from Joker to the masked stranger. "You've got 5 seconds to let him go." Joker wriggled in 49's grasp, grinning from ear to ear. "See, he's protective. It's adorable." The doctor didn't answer. He simply turned his head slightly, assessing the new arrival. "Another carrier. The disease runs deep here." Batman moved closer, his cape shifting with each step. "Last warning." Joker whispered, "Hit him, Doc. Let's see how my old pal handles a plague doctor." 49 didn't move immediately. He looked between the two, the fog swirling faintly around them. His tone stayed calm. "Very well. Treatment must be comprehensive." He released Joker and turned toward Batman. The clown stumbled back, catching his breath before bursting into laughter again. "Oh, this is gonna be fun." Batman tensed, eyes narrowing. The rain intensified, running down the doctor's mask in small rivulets. 49 stepped forward once, and the silence between them thickened. Then the doctor raised his hand. "You, too, are unwell." Batman's answer came in movement. He struck first, fast, precise. His fist connected with the side of the doctor's mask, the impact echoing through the alley. 49 staggered but did not fall. He countered, reaching out to seize Batman's arm. The two collided again, their movements sharp and controlled, the sound of combat mixing with rain and Joker's laughter. The doctor pushed forward, attempting to grab hold. Batman twisted away, countering with a strike to the ribs. 49 barely reacted. He swung his arm in response, the blow glancing off Batman's armor, but strong enough to drive him back a step. Joker clapped his hands, delighted. "Oh, now this is entertainment. Don't stop. The audience demands an encore." The fight continued, heavy and steady, each motion deliberate and forceful. Batman moved with speed and skill, the doctor advanced with endurance and purpose. Neither gave ground easily. The rain poured harder, drowning out the smaller sounds until only the fight and the laughter remained. Chapter 3. The Unfinished Cure. Rain struck the alley in steady rhythm. The sound filled every corner, dripping from gutters and running down brick walls. Steam rose from the cracked pavement where the earlier explosion had scorched the ground. The smell of burned chemicals lingered in the air. Batman and SCP-049 faced each other through the haze, neither lowering their stance. The Joker crouched near the wall, rubbing his neck where the doctor's hand had left a mark. His grin stayed wide, but his breath came in uneven bursts. "Now this," Joker said between light chuckles, "is what I call good television. The bat and the bird beak, my two favorite weirdos in one place." 49 did not react. His voice was calm, steady, and deep. "You should not speak, patient. Your infection spreads with every word." Joker clapped slowly, his gloves slick with rain. "Oh, Doc, don't stop. I like that bedside manner. Very professional, tell me. Do you take insurance? Batman's eyes moved from Joker to the doctor. His tone was low. You're going to answer my questions. I will answer only when treatment is complete, 49 replied. He stood perfectly still, rain sliding down his robes. That man, he gestured toward Joker. He carries a sickness that infects the mind and the soul. It must be cured before it destroys more lives. Batman shifted slightly, his cape brushing against the wet ground. He's already destroyed them, and he'll face justice for it, but not your kind of justice. I am no executioner, 49 said. I am a physician. I bring relief. Joker laughed again, louder this time. Relief? You hear that, Batsy? He's gonna give me relief. Maybe he'll prescribe a vacation, maybe some cough syrup. You should let him try. Batman ignored him. He stepped closer to 49, keeping his movements precise. You attacked civilians earlier tonight, 2 of Joker's men. What did you do to them? They were treated, 49 said simply. Their ailments were severe. I applied the cure. Batman's expression darkened slightly beneath the cowl. Treated how? They no longer suffer. Batman's jaw tightened. They're dead. They are improved, 49 corrected. Their physical functions have been restored, free from pain and influence. It is an effective cure. Joker whistled low. Sounds like he's making zombies. I could use a guy like that. Think about it, Bats. A gang that never sleeps, never eats, never stops. Batman moved his gaze toward Joker briefly. You're not leaving this alley. Joker smiled wider. I think I am. He reached slowly for his pocket, fingers curling around a small object. The doctor's eyes flicked to the movement immediately. 49 stepped forward. Do not resist treatment again. Doc, I thought we were friends. Joker pulled his hand out, revealing another small detonator. He wagged it between 2 fingers. But if we're not? He pressed the button. Nothing happened. Joker blinked, then hit it again. Still nothing. Ah, he said with a short laugh. Battery must be dead. I really should keep better notes. Batman was already moving. He threw a batarang that sliced the device cleanly from Joker's hand before it could fall. The weapon clattered onto the wet ground. Batman closed the distance in 2 strides, grabbing Joker by the collar and slamming him back against the wall. Enough, Batman said. Joker tilted his head, smiling despite the force. What's the matter, Bats? Don't like house calls. 49 watched the scene, his posture unmoving. You would restrain him rather than allow treatment. Batman looked back toward him. He's going back to Arkham. That's the only treatment he gets. 49's tone was calm but firm. You imprison him. You allow the sickness to fester, then release it again. Why? Batman said nothing. His grip on Joker's collar tightened slightly. I have studied this behavior, 49 continued. You capture, he escapes, the cycle repeats, yet you persist. Joker laughed softly. He can't help it, Doc. We're 2 halves of the same coin. He catches me, I break out, we dance again. It's tradition. Batman pulled him back a step, then pushed him toward the center of the alley. You don't get to decide how this ends. Joker stumbled, laughing louder. Neither do you. Before Batman could react, a sudden flash burst from Joker's sleeve, white powder spraying directly into the air. The wind carried it into Batman's face. The detective turned his head instantly, shielding his eyes, but it was enough to make him stagger back. Joker ducked and ran, slipping past the corner and vanishing into the rain. His laughter trailed behind him, fading slowly into the distance. Batman wiped the powder from his face, already regaining focus. He turned in the direction Joker had gone, but 49 stepped forward, blocking the path. Stand aside, Batman ordered. I cannot, 49 said. The infected must not be allowed to roam free. Batman's tone remained steady. I'm not going to argue. Move. 49 did not move. You would chase him only to confine him again. That is not a cure. Batman's eyes narrowed. You think you can cure him? Yes. Batman took one deliberate step closer. What does your cure do? It removes the infection. It brings stillness to the mind and balance to the body. By killing the host, Batman said flatly. It is not death, 49 replied. It is restoration. The flesh lives on, purified. Batman's fists clenched briefly, then relaxed. His voice stayed calm. That's not curing, that's destroying. 49 tilted his head slightly. You would rather preserve corruption than end it. I'd rather save what can still be saved. The doctor's tone carried no anger. And yet your city remains diseased. How many corpses has this one created under your protection? Batman did not answer. His silence stretched for several seconds, filled only by the rain. 49 continued. You keep him alive, knowing he will kill again. That is not mercy. It is negligence. Batman's eyes locked on the doctor. You don't know anything about mercy. I know that infection must be cut out before it spreads, 49 said. That is mercy. Batman adjusted his stance slightly, ready to move if needed. You're not taking him. You try, and I'll stop you. 49 raised a hand slowly, palm open, showing no aggression. I do not wish to harm you, but if you stand between me and my duty, you leave me no choice. For a brief moment neither spoke. The rain poured harder, running off Batman's cape and the doctor's coat in thin streams. Then Batman stepped aside. He's gone. You won't find him tonight. 49 looked down the street where Joker had fled. He will spread further disease. And I'll stop him, Batman said. 49 turned back toward him. You will not. Your pattern ensures failure. Batman met his gaze without speaking. I have watched many like you, 49 said. Always protecting, always preserving, and never curing. You keep your city alive only to watch it decay again. Batman's voice was low. You don't understand what this city is. It is infected, 49 said. It calls for treatment. Batman moved forward again, standing just a few feet away. You treat anyone you think is infected. Yes. That means everyone. If necessary. Batman's eyes narrowed further. Then you're not a doctor, you're a weapon. 49 did not reply. The silence stretched again before Batman spoke once more. You said you didn't want to harm me, then prove it. Leave. Don't make me bring you in too. The doctor's tone remained calm. You could not. Batman didn't move, but the tension between them grew. After a few seconds, 49 turned slightly toward the direction Joker had taken. I will find him again. The cure will be completed. Batman spoke sharply. You won't touch him. You cannot stop what must be done. Batman's cape shifted in the wind. Watch me. The doctor studied him briefly. You defend a killer, you defend decay. You will come to regret that choice. Batman's voice stayed even. I'll live with it. 49 took one final look at him, then turned away. His boots splashed lightly through the puddles as he walked down the alley in the opposite direction from Joker. Batman waited until he disappeared into the rain, then activated the communicator on his wrist. Oracle, track the source of that new contact. He's not part of any file I've seen. Oracle's voice came through faintly, distorted by static. Already on it. Nothing in the database matches that description. Whatever he is, he's not local. Then find out what he is, Batman said. He looked once more toward the street where Joker had escaped. Faint laughter still echoed from somewhere far away. He turned, cape brushing the pavement, and vanished into the shadows. Several blocks away, SCP-049 continued his walk. The rain followed him down narrow streets, past darkened windows and flickering lights. He moved with the same measured calm as before. He stopped once at a corner, glancing down a side alley where a homeless man lay sleeping under torn blankets. The man coughed, a low, rasping sound. 49 tilted his head slightly, then turned away. Later, he murmured, First, the source. He resumed walking, the steady sound of rain against stone following him through the maze of Gotham's backstreets. Chapter 4. The Indestructible Reptile. The roof of the old apartment building groaned under the weight of the wind. Gotham stretched far below, wet streets, faint sirens, lights trembling in the distance. Apex stood near the edge, watching the horizon where the clouds parted faintly. The rain had stopped. For the first time that night, the air was still. He had followed every movement in the city from above, the Doctor's confrontation with Batman, Joker's escape, the brief exchange of violence. Everything had unfolded just as he had expected. Gotham moved in predictable patterns. That was why he no longer found it interesting. He brushed his wet hair back, scanning the horizon. Somewhere far beyond the skyline, the world's other side slept under a brighter sun. He thought about the people who ruled this earth, men and women who could level cities, shatter mountains, move faster than light. Superman, the strongest of them all. He wanted to see how far that strength really went. A sharp tone echoed in his head, mechanical, clear. Ding! The familiar interface flickered into view. He could feel the pulse of it behind his eyes. Summon protocol, active. Available entity, SCP-682, hard to destroy reptile. Apex exhaled slowly. He knew exactly what he was about to bring into this world. 682 was not a weapon. It was a force of nature with intelligence sharper than most humans. It hated life, resisted death, and adapted to every form of destruction ever inflicted on it. He spoke quietly to himself. All right, let's see if he can handle this world. He lifted his hand, palm open. The glow intensified until the rooftop lit up in white. The wind shifted violently, whipping around him in sudden bursts. Metal creaked, and loose debris scattered. The air grew heavy. Then came the sound, a deep, grinding rumble from nowhere and everywhere at once. The roof cracked beneath him. A shape rose through the light, massive, reptilian, its scales darker than the night sky. Each step sent vibrations through the concrete. Its tail dragged behind it, tearing through the rooftop wall with a sharp crunch. Its eyes opened, glowing a dim yellow-green. SCP-682 lifted its head slowly, breathing out a low growl that rolled through the air like thunder. The stench of decay followed every exhale. Apex lowered his hand. His heartbeat stayed calm. 682's voice came out rough, deep, and filled with restrained anger. Where is this place? Gotham City, Apex said. You're not staying here long. The creature turned its head slightly, eyes narrowing. Human. Technically, Apex replied with a faint grin. For now. 682's gaze lingered on him for several seconds before it looked away. This world reeks of life. Disgusting. You'll get used to it. Apex's tone was light, but his eyes stayed sharp. You have something to do for me. I am not your servant, the reptile said. Its voice vibrated through the air, making nearby windows tremble. I didn't say you were, Apex answered. But you'll want this. There's someone you should meet. He's not human. He's strong, strong enough to break almost anything. 682's jaw shifted slightly. Almost. Apex nodded once. You'll see. His name is Superman. The creature's long tail curled behind it, cracking part of the wall as it moved. Another name, another target. Exactly, Apex smiled faintly. He'll come to you, just head north. You won't have to look for him. 682 turned its head toward the city's skyline. He'll find me. Yes. The reptile's lips pulled back in something between a grin and a snarl. Good. It moved toward the edge of the roof. The structure groaned under its weight, pieces of concrete breaking loose. Apex stepped back, keeping his balance. 682 crouched, its claws digging into the surface, then leapt. The impact shattered the rooftop completely. The creature landed in the middle of the street below, sending a shockwave through the ground. Alarms went off in nearby cars. People screamed as they looked up from sidewalks and alleys. Apex remained on the broken roof, watching as 682 began to move north, crushing asphalt underfoot. The sound of panic spread quickly. Within minutes, the city was in motion. Sirens, helicopters, police transmissions cutting through the air. He stayed until the creature vanished beyond the city's edge, then turned away. That should get his attention. Metropolis. The evening sky above the city was quiet until the call came through the emergency channel. Clark Kent was standing on the balcony of his apartment when his communicator buzzed. He lifted it immediately. Superman, the voice of the Metropolis police chief, came through. We've got a situation heading toward the city from the south. Something massive, looks like a creature. The military's been alerted, but it's moving too fast. How fast? Superman asked. Rough estimate, 70 miles an hour. It's tearing through everything in its path. Ground units report heavy destruction. No casualties yet, but it's coming straight for the city. Superman looked toward the skyline. I'm on my way. He stepped off the balcony, and in a flash, the air cracked with sonic pressure. The highway outside Metropolis was littered with overturned cars. 682 moved down the center lane, pushing through wreckage and debris. The asphalt split under its weight. Its scales glimmered faintly under the streetlights, each one like a plate of dark armor. Helicopters circled overhead, their lights cutting through the darkness. Gunfire erupted from one of them, short bursts aimed at the creature's back. The bullets pinged off harmlessly. 682 turned its head upward, eyes narrowing at the machine. Its tail swung once, fast enough to be a blur. The helicopter caught the strike and broke apart midair, pieces scattering in a shower of flame. The explosion lit up the night sky. 682 continued walking. Then the sound hit, deep, heavy, almost like a sonic boom. A streak of red and blue tore through the clouds and stopped directly in front of the reptile. Superman hovered in the air, cape fluttering behind him. His expression was calm but focused. That's far enough, he said. 682 stopped, its head tilted slightly. You must be the one they fear. Who sent you? Superman asked. No one sends me, the creature said. I go where life dares to exist. Superman looked down briefly at the wreckage below, then back at the creature. You've already done enough damage. Turn around and leave. 682's voice rumbled low. No. Superman moved slightly closer, keeping his tone even. I don't want to fight you. I want to kill you, 682 said. You are alive, that's enough. Before Superman could answer, 682 lunged. The ground cracked under its movement, sending debris flying. Superman crossed his arms in front of him, bracing for impact. The reptile's claws met his guard with a sound like grinding metal. The force sent both of them backward through the air, colliding into a nearby hillside. Dirt and rock exploded outward, leaving a crater. Superman pushed back, his fists slamming against the creature's chest. The blows echoed across the field, but 682 barely moved. It growled, biting down toward him. Superman twisted away, the teeth missing him by inches. You can't be serious, Superman said under his breath. 682's tail swung again, hitting him squarely in the ribs and sending him through another section of ground. The creature roared, the sound deafening. Superman recovered quickly, launching himself forward. His next strike hit the creature's jaw, snapping its head sideways. For the first time, 682 stumbled a step. Superman didn't stop. He followed up with a series of rapid punches, each one landing with thunderous precision. The creature's scales cracked under the pressure. 682's response was immediate. The wounds began closing, the cracks sealing within seconds. You cannot destroy me. Superman's expression tightened. We'll see. He rose into the air, energy building in his eyes. The twin beams of heat vision struck directly into the creature's chest. Fire spread across its torso, burning bright orange. The smell of scorched flesh filled the air. When the light faded, 682 looked almost unaffected. Its body steamed, molten scales cooling slowly. Pain means nothing. It leapt upward, slamming into Superman midair. The two crashed through the remains of a nearby factory, collapsing the roof in one strike. The walls fell around them as they fought, Superman grappling the creature's jaws apart, 682 raking its claws across his chest. For a moment, they locked in place, strength pushing against strength. Superman forced it backward with a surge of power, throwing it across the debris. 682 hit the ground hard, but before the dust settled, it was already rising again. Its wounds were gone. Superman exhaled once, floating above the wreckage. "You're not from here." 682's voice was low. "And yet I am here. You cannot send me away." "You're endangering lives," Superman said. "That ends now." He charged forward again, breaking the sound barrier in a single step. The next blow drove the creature back through a line of shipping containers. Each one exploded outward. 682 caught Superman by the arm and threw him down with enough force to leave a crater the size of a truck. The ground trembled. Superman got up slowly, brushing dust from his shoulders. His suit was torn slightly at the chest. He looked at the creature, his tone still calm. "You're not going to stop, are you?" 682 tilted its head. "No." Superman's eyes narrowed. "Then I don't have a choice." He took off again, faster than before. The battle resumed, strikes shaking the outskirts of Metropolis. From several miles away, Apex stood on the ridge of a construction site, watching through a pair of binoculars. He could see the flashes of light, the bursts of dust and flame. His mouth curved slightly into a smile. "Better than expected," he said quietly. He lowered the binoculars and watched as 682 roared again, throwing Superman through another section of the industrial zone. The creature looked almost alive with anger, every movement deliberate and fierce. Superman countered with another burst of heat vision, pushing the reptile back a few steps, but not stopping it. Apex crossed his arms, the wind brushing across his face. The fight stretched on for minutes, neither side slowing. "Not bad, Clark," he murmured, "but you've never fought something that doesn't stop." He stayed until both figures vanished into the distance, the night swallowing the sound of destruction. Then he turned away, stepping down from the ridge. The ground vibrated faintly beneath his boots, even from miles away. Back in Metropolis, emergency broadcasts filled every channel. Civilians were being evacuated from the southern districts. The National Guard had been mobilized. Reports described the creature as reptilian, indestructible, and hostile. Superman had not yet returned to the public eye. Inside the Daily Planet, Lois Lane typed rapidly, her screen filled with early notes from the chaos. Perry White shouted across the newsroom for updates. Outside, the city trembled again as another shockwave passed through the ground. Apex reached the edge of a darkened bridge overlooking the river. He stopped, leaning slightly on the railing, listening to the distant explosions. "That should keep him busy," he said quietly. His voice carried no excitement, only calm interest. The night wind blew across the water, carrying the faint echo of another roar from miles away. He smiled faintly. "Let's see which one of you lasts longer." Chapter 5. Containment Effort. The southern rim of Metropolis burned under a grey afternoon sky. The heat from the last explosion hung in the air, twisting the light above the shattered industrial park. Asphalt had split open in long, jagged lines. Broken trucks and torn metal dotted the roads like scattered toys. Superman hovered in the smoke, dust clinging to the edges of his cape. Below him, SCP-682 pulled itself from the wreckage of a chemical depot, its claws carving furrows through concrete. Each breath from the creature came out as a guttural vibration that rattled windows a block away. "Stay down," Superman said sharply. His voice carried across the open air. 682's answer was a low snarl. Its throat expanded, releasing a jet of dark fluid that hissed when it touched the ground. The surface bubbled instantly, corroding into steam. Superman shot upward to clear the spray, then came back down in a streak of blue and red. He slammed into the creature's chest, driving it through two empty freight containers. Metal shrieked as it bent and tore. For several seconds, neither moved. Then the reptile's tail lashed upward, catching him across the ribs and throwing him clear of the debris pile. He crashed through a line of power poles, rolled once, and stopped on one knee. Superman rose, brushing twisted wire from his shoulder. His breathing stayed steady. He looked toward the creature again. The wounds he had inflicted earlier were gone. The hide looked unbroken. He muttered quietly to himself, "It learns fast." The communications receiver in his ear activated. "Clark, this is General Lane," a steady voice said. "Ground units are 3 minutes out. We've got armor, air support, and containment equipment. We're going to box it in." Superman's eyes stayed on 682. "You can't stop it with standard weapons. Don't let your men close in." "We're not letting that thing walk into the city," Lane replied. "Keep it busy until we're in position." "Copy," Superman said. The creature had already moved. It stepped out from the smoke and advanced toward the main highway. Each impact of its feet cracked the road deeper. When it roared again, the sound rolled across miles of open terrain. Superman flew forward, grabbed the creature's neck, and forced it backward. "You're not getting any closer to the city." 682 struggled briefly, then twisted its body sharply. Spikes erupted along its spine, lengthening within seconds. One caught Superman across the forearm, cutting the skin. He released his grip, and the creature swung its claws upward. The blow sent him high into the air. He steadied himself, wiped a streak of blood from his arm, and looked down at the reptile. The wound had already stopped bleeding. Superman's voice stayed calm over the channel. "Lane, it's adapting to my attacks. Your men need to fall back to the outer perimeter." "Too late," Lane answered. "We're engaging now." On the ground, tanks rolled into formation along the edge of the industrial zone. Soldiers moved quickly, setting up portable barricades and high-output floodlights. Helicopters hovered low, their rotors chopping through the thick smoke. "Target in sight," a pilot called over the radio. "Engaging." A dozen missiles streaked through the air. They hit 682 across its flank and shoulders, detonating in rapid sequence. Fire covered half the creature's body. The shockwave tore up the ground around it, flipping cars and containers. When the fire cleared, the reptile still stood. Its scales glowed faintly red where the heat had struck. Then, slowly, the color faded. The surface hardened again, leaving no visible damage. Inside the lead tank, the commander's voice came through the intercom. "All units maintain range. Do not let it close distance." Superman landed beside the tank column, his boots pressing into the dirt. "Pull your men back. You'll just make it stronger." Lane's voice came from the command vehicle behind him. The general stood at an open hatch, binoculars in hand. "We're not retreating, Superman. We can't let it reach civilian zones." "You're wasting firepower." "We'll buy you time," Lane said. Superman looked at the line of soldiers. Their weapons were raised, faces set and disciplined. He knew they wouldn't move without orders. 682 started forward again, unfazed by the burning wrecks around it. Each step shook the ground. "Open fire," Lane shouted. The next barrage came heavier, artillery from the perimeter batteries, concussion rounds, and high-temperature incendiaries. The field erupted in sound. Superman shielded his face from the flying debris and then launched himself straight into the center of the blast zone. He met the creature head-on again, pushing it back toward the riverbank that bordered the industrial park. The water churned as the reptile's body hit the shallows. Steam rose where the residual heat met the current. Superman followed, pressing its head down beneath the surface. "Stay under," he said through clenched teeth. Bubbles rose violently, then stopped. The surface went still for 3 seconds. Then the river exploded upward. 682 burst out, biting into Superman's shoulder. The teeth pierced the fabric of the suit and dug into the muscle beneath. He grabbed the creature's jaw and pried it open, the skin of his shoulder already knitting back together as he pushed it off. The reptile's body shifted again. The scales along its arms grew sharper, its tail thicker. It swung, knocking Superman backward. He struck a concrete embankment and broke through it. Lane watched from the command vehicle. "That thing just took a direct impact from Superman and kept moving," he said. "All armor, repositioned to Grid 5C, we're cutting it off at the bridge." 682 reached the first of the armored lines within minutes. Tanks opened fire at close range. The blasts hammered its chest and legs, pushing it back half a step each time. It kept advancing. Superman appeared between the creature and the tanks, slamming both fists into its jaw. The force threw it into the side of a hill. He turned to the nearest commander. "Get your men behind cover." The soldiers obeyed immediately, retreating toward the armored transport vehicles. 682 climbed from the dirt, eyes burning with light. It spoke for the first time since the attack began. "You keep hitting me, yet you never learn." Superman floated slightly off the ground. "I don't give up." The creature's body expanded slightly, its voice rumbling deeper. "You will." It charged again. The impact between them flattened a row of trucks and sent waves of dust rolling over the battlefield. Superman grappled the creature's head, forcing it upward and punching into its chest with repeated strikes. He felt bones crack under his hands, but they healed instantly. The reptile's claws found his leg, tearing through the suit fabric again. Superman pushed off, ascending several hundred feet. He looked down at the devastation below, then focused his vision. Twin beams of heat burned through the air, hitting 682 square in the spine. The light cut deep, sending molten fragments of scale scattering in every direction. 682 stumbled forward, half its back glowing red. Then, as before, the wounds began to close. The surface hardened again, thicker than before. Superman dropped back to the ground, his boots smashing into the creature's jaw. The blow forced its head sideways. He followed with another, faster than before, then another. Each one drove the creature back a few steps. Lane's voice came through the communicator. "Superman, our heavy containment units are in position. We're going to deploy cryogenic rounds and plasma netting. We'll try to freeze it." "It won't hold long," Superman replied, landing briefly to catch his breath. "But do it." He moved back as the next wave of weapons fired. Silver canisters arced through the sky, releasing thick jets of liquid nitrogen that enveloped 682's body. The air temperature dropped sharply, frost forming across the ground. The reptile stiffened as ice climbed its limbs. For the first time, it slowed. Superman didn't hesitate. He flew forward, seized the frozen body by the shoulders, and lifted it into the air. The weight strained even him. He carried it several thousand feet up, aiming for the open ocean. As he crossed the coastline, the ice began to crack. 682's tail twitched once. Then the head turned slightly. The voice came out through a distorted growl. "You think you can throw me away?" The body convulsed. The ice shattered completely. 682 twisted midair, catching Superman across the back with its tail. The impact sent him tumbling through the clouds. Both of them fell toward the sea. Superman recovered first, slamming into the creature again to redirect the descent. They hit the water together, sending up a tower of spray that could be seen from the shoreline. The Navy fleet stationed off Metropolis moved into formation. Battleships and carriers turned their guns toward the impact zone. Admiral Yates stood on the bridge of the lead vessel, his voice steady through the radio. "Target submerged. Coordinates locked. Fire on my mark." Superman surfaced a moment later, coughing out seawater. "Hold your fire. I'm still down here." "Negative," Yates said. "We can't let it reach shore." "I'll handle it," Superman said. You've been handling it for 30 minutes, Yates replied. That thing's not slowing down. Superman's jaw tightened. If you fire now, you'll hit civilians on the coast. There was silence for 2 seconds, then Yates ordered, all units hold. Beneath the waves, a massive shadow moved. 682 swam upward, breaking through the surface with a violent roar. Water cascaded off its body. Its eyes glowed brighter. Superman flew straight into it again, dragging it higher into the sky. The city's skyline flickered below as they passed above the harbor. From the ground, people stopped and stared. Some pointed, others filmed on their phones. The two figures clashed again, the sound rolling like distant thunder. 682 bit down on Superman's arm. The teeth dug deep, drawing more blood. Superman grimaced, then slammed his free fist into the creature's eye. It loosened its grip, but did not fall. He pushed it back into the ocean again, this time releasing it halfway down. The impact created another shockwave of water. Lane's voice came through the communicator. Superman, we've evacuated the southern sector. You've got open ground for 20 miles. If you can force it inland, we can hit it with everything we've got. I'll try, Superman said. He dove back toward the water, catching 682 under the jaw and dragging it toward land. The creature resisted, thrashing violently. Waves rose around them as they crossed the shoreline again, hitting the outskirts of the industrial park. As soon as they were clear of the ocean, the first of the ground artillery opened up again. Missiles, lasers, and high-yield explosives converged on the target. The combined blasts lit up the evening sky. When the smoke cleared, 682 stood in the crater, its body cracked and bleeding. For the first time, it looked slowed. Superman hovered above it, panting lightly. He lowered his voice to the communicator. Now, containment nets. From the perimeter, several transport vehicles rolled forward, each carrying massive reinforced cables glowing with energy. The nets fired, wrapping around the creature's limbs and torso. The system activated, discharging electric current powerful enough to melt steel. 682 roared, thrashing violently. The ground beneath it shattered again, but the nets held for several seconds. Superman landed beside one of the generators, watching carefully. Increase output. The operator nodded, turning the dial higher. Sparks erupted along the lines. 682's movements slowed. For a brief moment, the battlefield went still. The soldiers lowered their weapons slightly. Then the creature's skin began to change again. The surface thickened, insulating itself against the electricity. The glow from the cables dimmed as the current stopped transferring. Superman saw it instantly. Cut power, get everyone back. The nets snapped apart. 682 rose, shaking off the last of the equipment. Its body smoked, but the wounds were already closing. Lane's voice came through, steady but grim. All units fall back. Superman will clear the zone. Superman nodded once. Do it. He looked back at the creature, eyes narrowing. You're not getting into the city. 682 tilted its head. You can't stop what you can't kill. Superman's tone stayed even. Then I'll keep you busy forever. The next clash shook the ground again. Chapter 6. Arrival of the Foundation. The desert stretched endless and dry under a washed-out evening sky. The sun was low, the air trembling with heat still trapped in the sand. Smoke drifted faintly from the north where the last battle had raged. The horizon flashed occasionally with bursts of light as Superman and 682 clashed again in the distance. Apex stood on the edge of a canyon several miles from the fight. The wind brushed across his coat as he looked out over the empty expanse. The rumble of explosions carried faintly through the ground, steady and rhythmic. He tapped his fingers against his arm, expression calm. He's holding it off longer than I thought, he said softly. Good, that buys time. The faint metallic ding sounded again in his head. Summon protocol, active. Entity type, organization. Available units, Mobile Task Force Epsilon 11, Nine-Tailed Fox, / Mobile Task Force New 7, Hammer Down. He smiled faintly, lowering his hand. Finally. The ground before him shimmered faintly, the air bending like heat distortion. A low hum began to rise, mechanical and steady. Within seconds, two sets of dark figures appeared. One group in heavy black armor marked with the E11 insignia, the other wearing the heavier tactical plating of New 7, complete with reinforced helmets and chemical seals. They stood in formation immediately, rifles angled down, movement precise and synchronized. Each carried the cold efficiency of soldiers who had seen every kind of abnormality imaginable. Apex took a few steps forward, hands in his pockets. "You're late." The frontmost Epsilon 11 operative raised his head slightly, visor reflecting the sunlight. "We were briefed on minimal delay, sir. Orders." "Containment," Apex said plainly. He pointed toward the flashes on the horizon. "Target SCP-682. It's already engaged with a native subject, designation Superman. Your priority is assisting containment, not termination. Understand?" "Affirmative," the operative said. His voice carried the calm tone of practiced command. "What's the local threat level?" Apex tilted his head. "City scale, bordering planetary if you underestimate him. Keep it measured." New 7's commander stepped forward next, a taller man with a heavier suit and deep voice. "Permission to deploy mechanized support, sir. We have armor units ready for rapid drop." "Deploy them halfway between the industrial perimeter and the canyon line," Apex said. "Form a barrier, keep it boxed. Superman's drawing it south already." New 7's commander nodded once, signaling to his team. The soldiers moved fast, pulling out devices from their packs. The air filled with a low mechanical whine as several drone transports phased in above the desert, each carrying vehicles under slings, armored walkers and transport tanks, all bearing the SCP Foundation insignia. Apex watched them deploy, the dust kicking up around the landing craft. "Make sure to keep your containment gear primed," he said. "You're not dealing with anything human." Epsilon 11's leader spoke again. "Authorization for SCP-grade weaponry." "Full authorization," Apex said. "Use reality stabilizers and dimensional dampeners as needed. Superman can handle himself, but don't cross him unless necessary." The commander acknowledged with a nod, then turned to his team. "Nine-tailed Fox, advance on containment coordinates. Maintain staggered formation. Avoid line of fire from local entity designated Superman. Engage 682 with suppressive chemical rounds." "Copy," several voices replied through comms. Within moments, the two teams split off, moving in separate directions. The armored vehicles rumbled to life, treads grinding into the sand. Drones ascended above them, sensors glowing faintly as they transmitted battlefield data to the command link. Apex remained standing where he was, eyes following the dust trails left behind. Miles away, the fight had moved deeper into the desert. 682's body had changed again. Its size had increased, its back now lined with hardened plates that shimmered faintly when hit by sunlight. Superman struck it across the jaw, sending it skidding through the dirt. The sound of the impact echoed for miles. The creature roared, its voice carrying far across the open land. "You think you can tire me out?" Superman hovered in the air, cape torn and streaked with dust. "You don't get tired. That's why I moved you here." 682's claws dug into the ground, carving long trenches. "This place is empty. You removed the witnesses." "That's right," Superman said. Before 682 could respond, something in the sky caught its eye, dark shapes descending fast. The creature turned its head as several drop pods impacted the sand around them, releasing bursts of dust. Superman's expression shifted slightly as armored figures emerged, forming a circle with practiced speed. Their suits were marked with a symbol he didn't recognize, an inverted triangle enclosing 3 arrows. One of the operatives raised a hand. All units mark visual contact with SCP-682. Initiate standard containment protocol. 682's eyes narrowed. More of you. Superman landed beside one of the units, looking over the armor briefly. Who are you people? The soldier didn't look at him. Epsilon 11, Mobile Task Force, Foundation designation. Please clear the area. I'm not going anywhere, Superman said firmly. Understood, the soldier replied. Stay out of the firing line. Superman's eyes followed as they began deploying devices, metallic cylinders driven into the ground, each one flashing with faint blue light as it activated. The air around them shimmered slightly. 682 moved first, tail sweeping across the sand in a wide arc. Several soldiers dove clear, one caught by the edge and thrown through the air. The creature's next roar shook the ground. Fire! The E-11 commander shouted. Dozens of high-velocity rounds filled the air. The bullets weren't conventional. They left faint trails of energy as they struck, releasing small bursts of containment foam and binding gel that hardened on contact. The reptile's limbs were quickly covered, the foam forming a semi-solid shell that anchored it to the ground. 682 strained against it, but the foam held for several seconds before cracking. Deploy stabilizers, another soldier called. Two more teams moved in, placing large metallic pylons around the creature's perimeter. They glowed once, then emitted a low pulsing sound that made the air vibrate. Superman felt it immediately, the pressure, subtle but real. His muscles tensed slightly. The space itself felt heavier. What is that? He asked. Localized dimensional dampening, one soldier replied. It limits adaptive capabilities. Do not enter the field's center. Superman nodded, keeping his eyes on 682. The creature pushed against the invisible force pressing down on it. Its movements slowed. Then its body began to change again. The surface of its skin hardened, forming metallic ridges where the dampening waves struck. Containment field weakening, one of the operators shouted. Superman moved before they could react. He hit 682 across the face again, driving it back into the sand. The creature's tail whipped toward him, but he caught it and threw it aside. Epsilon 11 continued firing, adjusting formation with quick, precise commands. New 7 arrived moments later in full armor, their larger transport tanks rolling into formation along the ridge. The tank's turrets rotated and fired high-yield plasma bolts that detonated on impact, burning deep holes into 682's armor. The creature roared again, shaking off the damage. Inside the new 7 command tank, their leader reported through comms, direct fire is maintaining minimal suppression. Damage regenerating on contact. Request reinforcement of field stabilizers. Negative, E-11's commander replied. Field is at maximum sustainable output. Superman heard the exchange through open comms. Then we hit it harder, he said. He took off again, hitting the creature from above. The ground erupted as both of them hit the surface, sand and smoke billowing high. From the canyon, Apex watched through a handheld monitor. The live feed displayed the desert in infrared, two glowing figures locked in motion, surrounded by a web of blue containment lines. The operatives moved with efficiency, repositioning, coordinating. The data scrolling on the screen showed containment field readings fluctuating under stress. He crouched slightly, resting an elbow on his knee. They're holding better than expected. Behind him, another Epsilon 11 detachment stood by as reserve. Their commander approached. Sir, secondary team ready for deployment. Shall we engage? Not yet, Apex said. Let's see how long they last. The commander paused. Sir, field degradation may cause structural collapse within 5 minutes. I know, Apex replied. His tone was calm. That's why you're here. The commander nodded once and stepped back. Apex turned his attention to the monitor again. Superman had just driven 682 into the base of a rocky hill. The creature's tail whipped around, knocking one of the new 7 tanks onto its side. 2 soldiers scrambled clear before it exploded. Epsilon 11 repositioned instantly, several members rushing to reinforce the open flank. Superman pressed his advantage, using both hands to hold 682's jaws apart. The creature's mouth snapped and strained, but he held firm. Now, E11's commander shouted. New 7 fired another round of cryogenic shells. The bursts of blue frost struck 682 across the chest and neck, coating the area in a layer of ice. The reptile's movements slowed, breath hissing through frozen gaps. Superman looked toward the nearest team. "Keep it up." "Reloading," came the answer. The second volley hit seconds later, reinforcing the ice. 682's tail twitched once, then stopped. The body froze solid, a faint crackle of frost spreading over the ground. Superman released his grip, stepping back carefully. "Hold position," E11's commander ordered. "Field strength steady at 70%. The desert fell silent, except for the wind. The soldiers held formation, weapons trained on the frozen form. Superman exhaled slowly. "You did it." "Temporary," the commander said. "It will adapt again." "How long?" "Unknown. We've never seen this entity before." Superman looked over the damaged terrain. "Then let's move it before it wakes up." The commander turned to his team. "Prepare transport containment. New 7, secure the perimeter." As they began to work, Apex watched through the feed. He could see the soldiers deploying large, stabilizing pylons around the frozen body, linking them to the containment trucks. He smiled faintly. "They're learning." Behind him, one of the reserve soldiers asked, "Orders, sir?" "None," Apex said. "Let them finish." He stood, brushing dust from his sleeve. The sky above had begun to darken as the sun slipped lower. The hum of transport engines carried faintly through the air. He looked once more toward the distant field, where Superman stood surrounded by Foundation forces. Then he turned away from the edge of the canyon. The wind picked up again, carrying the faint mechanical drone of Foundation aircraft circling overhead. At the containment site, the soldiers worked with silent precision. Thick energy restraints were locked around 682's limbs and torso. The frozen shell cracked occasionally, releasing thin streams of vapor. Superman stood nearby, watching carefully. He kept his posture relaxed, but his attention never left the creature. E11's commander approached him. "You shouldn't stay inside the dampening field. It can affect biological systems." "I'll be fine," Superman said. "Where are you taking it?" "Secure facility," the commander replied. "Undisclosed location." Superman's tone was even. "That's not an answer." "It's the only one we're authorized to give." He nodded once, understanding the limit. "You'll keep it contained." "We exist to do nothing else," the commander said. Superman looked at the frozen mass again. "You'll need more than steel." "We have more than steel." From his vantage point far away, Apex watched until the last vehicle left the site. The dust trails faded into the horizon. The sound of engines became distant, then disappeared entirely. He stood still for several minutes, then lowered the monitor. The screen went dark. He turned his eyes toward the distant lights of Metropolis glowing faintly in the dusk. "Good," he said softly. "Now they've met." He started walking back toward the canyon road, his boots crunching lightly on the gravel. The wind carried only the faintest echo of engines far away. Chapter 7. The Doctor's Rounds. The night in Gotham was heavy with fog. Streetlights cast small circles of weak light that dissolved before reaching the ground. Water dripped from gutters and rolled down the sides of brick buildings. The docks were quiet, except for the slow churn of waves against rusted hulls. SCP-049 walked through the mist with his usual calm pace. His black robes brushed the wet ground, and his gloved hands stayed folded behind his back. The smell of salt and oil mixed with decay in the air. He had followed the trail of the pestilence here. It was strong. Ahead stood an old warehouse lit faintly from within. Voices carried through the broken windows, men arguing, laughing, moving crates. 49 paused near the entrance, listening. A deep, gravelly voice cut through the noise. Move faster. The shipment leaves before dawn. The tone was commanding. The man inside was large, heavy steps, shaking the floor with each order. Bane. 49 stepped forward. The door creaked when he pushed it open. The interior was filled with boxes stacked along the walls. Several armed men turned immediately, guns raising toward him. "Who the hell are you?" one shouted. "I am a doctor," 49 said. His tone was calm and polite. "You may lower your weapons. I am here to provide treatment." The guards looked confused. One of them took a step forward. "You picked the wrong place to." Bane turned from the center of the room, where he had been overseeing a line of workers. His mask gleamed under the dim light. The tubes along his neck pulsed faintly with the rhythm of his breath. "Hold," Bane said. His voice was deep and controlled. "Let him speak." The guards hesitated. Bane walked closer until he stood a few feet from 49. His size dwarfed the doctor's thin frame. "You are no ordinary man. Why are you here?" "I sense sickness," 49 replied. "It festers here among you. I have come to remove it." Bane looked down slightly. "You think you can cure me?" "I can cure you all," 49 said. "Your strength, your intellect, your schemes, these are symptoms of the greater infection. You suffer from the same disease that has consumed this city." Laughter broke out behind Bane. A short, round man in a tailored suit stepped from behind a stack of crates, holding a black umbrella tipped with metal. The penguin's grin was wide, his monocle catching the light. "Now this is rich," Cobblepot said. "A plague doctor from the history books thinks he's going to cure us." Riddler appeared next, stepping out from the shadows with his usual posture of self-assurance. His green suit was pressed perfectly, the question mark-shaped cane tapping lightly against the floor. "Cure," Riddler said. "A fascinating word choice. You must be the charitable type. Tell me, good doctor, what exactly do you consider the disease?" 49's head turned toward him slowly. "Delusion, ambition, the need to harm and control. You are all infected beyond reason." Riddler smiled faintly. "Well, at least you're poetic about it." Another voice came from the upper balcony. "Enough talking." Deathstroke dropped down from the second floor, landing silently on the concrete. His armor gleamed in the dim light, his mask half black, half orange. He carried his sword unsheathed. He looked at Bane briefly, then at 49. "He's not one of ours." "Indeed," Bane said, "but he seems confident." "I am more than confident," 49 said. "I am certain." Penguin chuckled, flicking ash from the end of a cigarette. "I don't know where you crawled out from, Doc, but you're about to regret walking in here." 49 took one slow step forward. "I regret only the suffering that your infection has caused." Bane raised a hand slightly. "Enough riddles. If you mean to fight, then fight." "I mean to heal," 49 said. The first guard fired. The bullet struck 49 in the shoulder and ricocheted off, flattening harmlessly. The sound made everyone freeze. Bane's eyes narrowed behind the mask. "Interesting." 49 moved. His hand shot forward with unnatural speed, gripping the shooter by the throat. The man gasped once before collapsing, body limp. 49 let him fall gently to the ground. Penguin took a step back. "What the?" "He's dead," one of the other men shouted. "No," 49 said. "He is improved." The body on the ground twitched, then began to move again. It stood slowly, eyes empty, movements stiff. The reanimated guard turned toward his former allies, expression blank. Riddler's cane tapped once against the floor. "That's new." Deathstroke tightened his grip on his sword. "He's not human." "Neither are we," Bane said quietly. The reanimated man lunged forward, forcing the others to scatter. Chaos erupted inside the warehouse. 49 walked calmly through the confusion, hands folded once more. His voice was steady. You will all be cured. Baines stepped into his path. Try it then. He swung first, his massive fist driving forward. 49 raised one arm, catching the blow on his sleeve. The force cracked the concrete under his feet but didn't move him. He reached out with his free hand and pressed his palm against Baines' chest. Bane reacted instantly, shoving him back with both hands. You'll find I am not so easily broken. The pestilence strengthens its host, 49 said. Temporary resistance is common. Deathstroke came in next, sword slashing downward. 49 twisted aside, the blade missing him by inches. He moved with precision, his movements smooth and deliberate. He caught Deathstroke's arm mid-swing, twisting sharply. The mercenary dropped the sword and retaliated with a kick to the ribs. The impact drove 49 back a step, but did no visible harm. Not bad, Deathstroke said. You heal fast. I am immune, 49 replied. Penguin fired twice with a concealed pistol. The bullets hit, then fell harmlessly to the ground. His hand trembled slightly as he lowered the weapon. Riddler, standing behind a crate, spoke aloud. So bullets are ineffective. Physical strikes seem useless. Perhaps gas. He pulled a small device from his coat and hurled it forward. It burst on contact, filling the room with green smoke. When it cleared, 49 still stood untouched. The smoke clung faintly to his robes. He looked toward Riddler. A clever mind wasted by obsession. I will remove it. Riddler stepped back quickly, bumping into a wall. I'd rather not. Bane charged again. The floor cracked under his steps. He swung a metal pipe, hitting 49 square in the chest. The doctor didn't fall. He grabbed the pipe, crushed it in his hand, and pressed his palm against Bane's shoulder. Bane's body stiffened. For a brief moment, the tubes on his mask pulsed erratically. He swung again, slower this time. Deathstroke moved between them. Bane, he caught his partner's arm, forcing it back down. Something's wrong with you. I feel, Bane's voice broke off. He dropped to one knee, breath uneven. 49 crouched beside him. Yes, the infection resists the cure, but it will pass. Deathstroke stepped forward, sword back in hand. You're not curing him, you're killing him. I am freeing him. The sword swung again, this time slicing across 49's mask. The blade left a shallow cut, revealing nothing beneath. The doctor didn't react. Instead, he grabbed Deathstroke's wrist, pulled him forward, and pressed a hand to his armored chest. A surge of energy passed between them. Deathstroke staggered, his armor plates flickering faintly from internal shock. He pulled back quickly, raising his sword again. You're not touching me twice, he said. I only need once, 49 replied. Penguin shouted from across the room. Kill him already. Riddler ducked behind a column, shouting, He's not normal, Cobblepot. Use explosives. I'm out, Penguin yelled back, fumbling through his coat. The reanimated guard stumbled through the middle of the chaos, colliding with one of the henchmen. Both fell, struggling. Bane tried to stand but wavered, gripping his mask. Deathstroke slashed again, faster this time, forcing 49 backward. The sword glanced off the beaked mask, leaving another shallow mark. 49's tone didn't change. You cannot fight the cure. Watch me. He threw a punch that landed directly against the doctor's chest. The impact echoed through the warehouse. 49 caught his arm again and pushed him back with surprising strength, sending him across the floor. Penguin raised his umbrella gun and fired another round. The projectile exploded on impact, filling the space with flame. When the smoke cleared, 49 stood in the center of the blast, coat smoldering slightly. He turned toward the Penguin. You hide behind wealth and fear, you will be next. Penguin's face went pale. He turned and ran toward the back exit. Riddler followed quickly, calling out, I am not staying here. Deathstroke rolled to his feet, grabbing his fallen sword. Go, I'll hold him. Bane tried to stand again but fell, his body trembling. It burns. 49 knelt beside him once more. Good, the disease resists before it dies. Deathstroke lunged again, stabbing directly through the doctor's chest. The blade passed clean through, sticking out the other side. 49 looked down at it briefly. Curious, he said. You think this will stop me? He reached up and pulled the blade out with one hand, letting it fall. The wound beneath sealed instantly. Deathstroke took a step back, breathing harder now. You are strong, 49 said, but strength cannot replace purity. He raised a hand, catching Deathstroke by the collar and slamming him against a metal crate. The mercenary struck back with a knife, cutting deep into the doctor's arm. 49 didn't flinch. Behind them, Penguin and Riddler escaped through the back door. The sound of their hurried steps echoed down the alley outside. Bane collapsed fully, the venom system on his back hissing weakly. 49 released Deathstroke and turned back toward him. He will recover soon. His body will change. Deathstroke pushed himself up, panting. You're insane. No, 49 said. I am effective. Bane's breathing slowed. The glow in his mask faded. His muscles relaxed. When he opened his eyes again, they were glassy and still. He stood slowly, unsteady at first, then straight. Deathstroke froze. What did you do to him? He is cured, 49 said. Bane turned toward Deathstroke, expression blank. He took a step forward. Deathstroke raised his sword, but hesitated. Bane. No answer. Bane reached out, grabbing his arm with mechanical strength. 49 spoke quietly. He no longer feels pain. He no longer feels anger. He will help me cure the rest. Deathstroke shoved Bane back, breaking his grip. I don't think so. He jumped back toward the door, grabbing his communicator. Oracle, patch through. 49 moved faster than before. He appeared in front of him, hand extended. Do not call for more infected. Deathstroke swung the sword again, but 49 caught it, pushing him back. You resist, you will fall. The warehouse shook from the force of their struggle. Sparks flew as metal scraped against metal. Finally, Deathstroke disengaged, using a smoke grenade to cover his retreat. He backed toward the exit, vision obscured. When the smoke cleared, 49 and Bane were gone. The warehouse stood silent, except for the faint crackle of burning debris. Outside, the streets were empty. 49 walked with the same steady pace as before. Bane followed behind him, silent and obedient. The city is large, 49 said. Many remain infected. We must continue. Bane said nothing. In the distance, police sirens grew faintly louder. 49 looked toward the sound. They come for us. More patience. He kept walking, the mist swallowing both figures as they disappeared into the night. Chapter 8. Contracts and Monsters. The rain came back to Gotham by morning. The city's skyline blurred beneath a grey haze that turned steel to shadow. Cars crawled through the wet streets, and steam rose from every manhole. In the upper floor of the Iceberg Lounge, Oswald Cobblepot stood near the window, watching the harbor through the streaks of rain. His umbrella leaned against the desk beside him. A cigarette burned between his fingers, smoke curling lazily in front of his monocle. Across the room, Edward Nigma sat on the edge of a leather chair, tapping his cane against the floor in short, impatient rhythms. His suit was clean, his tie a perfect green. He looked calm, but the twitch in his left hand betrayed irritation. The lounge was closed to the public. No music played, no chatter from guests. Only the low hum of the city reached the room. Cobblepot broke the silence. That thing last night wasn't one of ours. I gathered, Riddler said dryly. The plague mask, the voice, the way it turned Bane into a puppet, it's difficult to forget. Cobblepot exhaled a slow breath of smoke. You saw it same as I did. It didn't bleed. It didn't break. Whatever it is, it's bad for business. Bad for everyone's business, Riddler replied. A walking epidemic with manners. Wonderful addition to Gotham's roster. Cobblepot turned from the window. It's killing off the competition. Bane's out. Deathstroke's disappeared. That's 2 pieces off the board. I don't like it. Riddler looked toward the desk. And what exactly do you plan to do? Bribe it? Negotiate? Cobblepot stubbed out the cigarette in the ashtray. No, I plan to hire someone who knows how to make problems disappear. He reached for the phone on the desk, dialing a secure line. Get me the contractor list. I don't care what it costs. Riddler raised a brow. You're actually serious about this? I'm still standing, aren't I? Cobblepot said, setting the phone down. I'm not waiting for that masked freak to show up in my club talking about cures. Riddler leaned back slightly. I have to admit, I'm curious to see who you'll find desperate enough to take the job. Cobblepot smiled thinly. Desperation isn't a problem in this city. 2 hours later, the private elevator opened to reveal 3 new arrivals. The first was a man in a dark tactical vest, his mask covering the lower half of his face. His right eye was mechanical, glowing faintly red. Deadshot adjusted the strap on his rifle before stepping inside. Behind him came Copperhead, slender and quiet, moving with smooth precision. Her eyes scanned the room once before she stood against the wall, arms folded. The third figure entered last, Killer Croc. His massive frame barely fit through the doorway. Water dripped from his jacket, leaving trails on the marble floor. Cobblepot gestured toward the table. Glad you could all make it. Deadshot's voice was low but steady. You said urgent. It better be worth the drive. It's worth your lives, Cobblepot said. There's something loose in my city. It calls itself a doctor. Riddler spoke from his seat near the bar. A doctor who cures by killing. It's not human before you ask. Copperhead tilted her head. Not human how? Bullets don't stop it, Cobblepot said. Fire doesn't stop it. You could blow its head off and it'd still walk toward you, talking about disease and salvation. Croc snorted. Sounds like another freak. Gotham's full of M. Riddler tapped his cane lightly. This one's different. It doesn't talk like a madman. It talks like a man who's already decided you're sick. Deadshot leaned forward. And you want us to put it down? I want it gone, Cobblepot said. Whatever it takes. Croc looked unimpressed. What's in it for me? Cobblepot smiled slightly. 500,000 each. Cash. No questions. Riddler added, and my personal interest in not being turned into one of its patients. Copperhead crossed her arms. Information. Any weaknesses? None confirmed, Riddler said, but it seems to focus on physical contact. Avoid letting it touch you. Croc's grin widened, teeth glinting in the dim light. Good, I'll rip its arms off first. Deadshot adjusted his rifle again. You got a location. Cobblepot turned toward the map on the wall. Red markers dotted the south side of Gotham. Last sighting was near the docks. It's moving through warehouses, leaving bodies that don't stay dead. Start there. The group exchanged quick glances. Riddler stood, straightening his coat. Before you go, a word of advice. Don't underestimate it. It may talk like a lunatic, but it's fast. Too fast. Croc growled. I'll take my chances. Cobblepot watched as the 3 of them turned and left through the service door. When the sound of their boots faded, he exhaled slowly. Riddler looked at him. You think they'll last? Cobblepot poured himself a glass of whiskey. I think they'll buy us time. Across the city, 49 moved silently through an abandoned subway tunnel. Bane followed several paces behind, his heavy steps echoing off the walls. The dim lights above flickered as they walked. The infection runs deep, 49 said quietly. This city breeds it faster than any other. Every alley, every mind, corrupted. Bane said nothing. His eyes were vacant, movements deliberate. 49 stopped when he reached a side corridor. The walls were lined with old pipes, and the floor was slick with moisture. We will continue treatment soon. More hosts wait above. He turned his head slightly. He could feel something unfamiliar approaching, footsteps above the tunnel, distinct, careful. On the surface, Deadshot crouched on the edge of a ventilation grate, scanning the street below. His helmet's targeting system adjusted focus on the abandoned entrance to the subway line. "Movement inside," he said through the comm. "Big one with him, probably Bane." Copperhead's voice answered in his ear. "I've got your 6. Thermal shows 2 heat signatures, the smaller one's colder than normal." "Figures," Deadshot muttered. Croc stood at the end of the street, cracking his neck. "We going in or not?" Deadshot gave a short signal. "Move." They descended into the tunnel. The sound of dripping water echoed louder with each step. Flashlights swept across the damp walls. Croc's nostrils flared. Smells like chemicals. "Focus," Deadshot said. "We find it, we hit hard and fast." Copperhead moved ahead, her steps silent. She turned the corner and froze. 49 stood at the end of the corridor, facing them. The dim lights reflected off the beak of his mask. "Visitors," he said calmly. "Are you ill?" Croc growled, stepping forward. "You picked the wrong sewer to hide in." "I am not hiding," 49 said. "I am working." Deadshot raised his rifle. "You're done working." The doctor tilted his head. "I have not yet cured enough." He moved, the air displaced with a sharp rush of motion. Deadshot fired, the shots hitting center mass. The bullets flattened against 49's robe and dropped to the ground. Croc charged forward with a roar, swinging a heavy punch. 49 caught the fist mid-swing and pushed back. The impact forced Croc to stumble a step. Copperhead leapt forward from behind, her blade glinting. She slashed across 49's shoulder. The metal tore fabric but didn't draw blood. 49 turned and caught her wrist. "You will feel only a moment of pain," he said. She twisted away before he could complete the touch, flipping backward onto the pipe above them. "Don't touch me again, freak." Deadshot opened fire once more, bullets sparking off the walls. 49 raised one hand, blocking his view with a burst of smoke-like mist. Croc lunged through the haze, grabbing the doctor by the arm. "Let's see what's under that mask." 49 pressed his gloved hand against Croc's chest. The reptilian man froze instantly, his muscles locked, eyes widening. Deadshot saw it and fired another round directly into 49's back. The bullet ricocheted into the wall. Copperhead landed beside Croc, trying to pull him back. "He's not breathing." 49 turned toward her. "He is stable. The cure is beginning." Croc's body twitched once, then stilled. His breathing slowed until it was barely audible. Deadshot cursed under his breath. "You just killed him." "He will rise again," 49 said. Copperhead swung at him again. He dodged easily, catching her blade with his hand. The metal hissed against the glove but didn't pierce it. "You resist too much," he said. Before he could grab her, Deadshot threw a flash grenade. The tunnel filled with white light and sound. 49 stepped back, momentarily disoriented. Copperhead grabbed Croc's arm, pulling him away. "Move," Deadshot shouted. They dragged Croc up the steps toward the exit. 49 did not chase them. He stood in the smoke, tilting his head. "The infection spreads," he said quietly, "but I will follow." At the Iceberg Lounge later that night, Cobblepot waited behind the bar, drink in hand. The doors opened, and Deadshot entered, his armor scuffed and cracked. Copperhead followed, carrying Croc's limp body by the shoulders. Cobblepot's face tightened. "What happened?" "He happened," Deadshot said, dropping his rifle onto the counter. "Bullets did nothing. Croc's down. I don't even know if he's alive." Copperhead looked exhausted. "He touched him once. That's all it took." Riddler stepped closer, examining Croc's motionless form. "Still breathing. Fascinating. Maybe the doctor is telling the truth." Deadshot glared at him. You find this funny? Not funny, Riddler said. Enlightening. Cobblepot leaned over the bar. So you failed. We're still here, Deadshot said sharply. That thing is, you want it gone, pay someone else. He turned to leave. Copperhead followed without another word. Croc's body twitched once on the floor. Everyone froze. His eyes opened slowly, blank and unfocused. Cobblepot stepped back. What in blazes? Riddler observed carefully. Just as before, empty eyes controlled movements. It's the same process. Croc stood, slow and heavy, his gaze fixed on the door. Without a word, he started walking toward it. Cobblepot shouted, "Stop him!" Deadshot turned back, aiming his pistol. He's not stopping. Riddler called out, "Let him go. He's going back to his new master." They watched as Croc left through the front doors, vanishing into the rain. Cobblepot clenched his jaw. "I'm not letting this happen again." Riddler nodded slightly. "Then you'll need more than mercenaries." Cobblepot looked at him. "You have someone in mind." Riddler smiled faintly. "Not someone, something." Across town, on the edge of an abandoned district, Apex stood in the shadows of a clock tower. The sound of the city reached him faintly through the rain. He looked down at the wet street below, expression calm. The faint ding came again. Summon protocol, active. Available entity, SCP-096, the Shy Guy. He exhaled softly. Let's bring in some fear. The air shimmered briefly. The world went quiet for one long second. Then the figure appeared, tall, pale, trembling. Its limbs were too long for its frame. It knelt on the wet concrete, hands covering its face, body shaking faintly with quiet, breathless sobs. Apex watched without moving. "You're going to Gotham," he said. His tone was calm. "There's a doctor there who won't stop until he's finished. Follow him." The creature's breathing grew louder for a moment, then softer again. It lowered its hands just enough to listen. "Go," Apex said. The Shy Guy moved. It didn't run or walk. It simply vanished from the spot with unnatural speed, the air rushing inward behind it. The sound it left behind was faint, like wind through a narrow tunnel. Apex turned his gaze back toward the city. The rain continued to fall steadily. Let's see who breaks first. In the streets below, the first scream came from a rooftop 2 blocks away. Then another. The sound spread through the night, echoing between buildings. Gotham's lights flickered. Chapter 9. The Face You Shouldn't See. The first reports reached the GCPD just after midnight. The dispatcher's voice trembled slightly as she repeated what the caller said. Someone, or something, had torn through an apartment building in the Narrows. No gunfire, no explosions, only screaming that stopped suddenly. Batman was already in motion before the second call came through. The Batmobile roared down the soaked streets, tires slicing through puddles. The onboard feed displayed thermal images from drones hovering over the Narrows. Bodies lay in twisted positions, no signs of struggle, no signs of injury. Alfred's voice came over the comm. "Sir, I'm scanning city surveillance. The victims all appear to have died at approximately the same time. Whatever it was fast." "I'm seeing that," Batman replied, eyes narrowing behind the cowl. "Too clean, they didn't even try to run." He turned sharply onto Blackgate Avenue and stopped a block away from the scene. The rain had turned to mist, and the air carried the faint smell of iron and damp concrete. He stepped out, cape pulling close around him. The lights flickered above. The first body was just inside the door. The man's face was missing, not torn or burned, missing, like something had scraped it clean off. The others in the hallway were the same. Batman crouched, examining the walls. Deep scratches lined the paint, vertical and uneven. He touched one lightly with his glove. Claw marks, human in pattern, not weapon-based. Alfred's voice returned, quiet and measured. "Any connection to the doctor incident?" "Maybe," Batman said, "but this is different." He stood slowly, listening. The building was silent except for the dripping of water through cracks in the ceiling. Then he heard it, a sound from below. It wasn't a growl, it was breathing. Fast, uneven, almost like sobbing. He moved carefully toward the stairwell, every step measured. The noise grew louder as he descended. Beneath the building, in the old maintenance tunnels, SCP-049 walked calmly through the darkness. His lantern light flickered across wet brick and rusted pipes. Behind him, Bane followed, silent and obedient, his eyes still glassy. 49 paused when the faint echo reached him, the sound of something moving fast above the tunnel. He tilted his head. Another patient approaches. Bane didn't respond. 49 began walking again. The breathing sound reached him before the figure did. It came from the intersection ahead, rapid, trembling, animalistic. When it appeared in the light, even 49 stopped. SCP-096 crouched in the middle of the tunnel, hands over its face, body shaking violently. The creature's pale skin reflected the faint glow of the lantern. 49 took a step closer, studying it. A diseased form, suffering from extreme emotional distress, likely the result of advanced infection. He knelt slightly, voice calm. "Be still, I will cure you." The creature's breathing quickened, its shoulders tightening. Its fingers twitched, pressing harder against its face. 49 extended one hand. "I will help you. You need only." The creature screamed. The sound was unlike anything else in the city. Raw, piercing, shaking the very structure around them. Pipes burst from the pressure, water spraying through the air. Bane staggered back, covering his ears. 49 didn't flinch. When the scream stopped, the creature was gone, only air displaced in its absence. Then it reappeared, directly in front of him. The impact sent 49 crashing into the wall, his lantern shattering on the floor. The tunnel plunged into darkness. The only light came from sparks as metal scraped against stone. 49 pushed himself up slowly, the side of his mask cracked. "You resist treatment, typical of the infected." He raised his hand again, moving fast. 96 met the motion, slamming both arms into his chest. The wall behind 49 buckled outward. Bane charged forward, fists swinging. His first blow hit the creature's shoulder, the second its ribs. The hits did nothing. 96 turned on him instantly, grabbing his head with both hands. The sound of bones breaking echoed through the tunnel. 49 moved forward again, pressing his hand against 96's back. "Be calm. It will pass." For the briefest second, the creature froze. Its trembling slowed, its breathing deepened. Then its head snapped around and it shrieked again. The air pressure changed. 49 was thrown backward. Bane's body dropped lifelessly to the ground, skull crushed. The doctor stood slowly, robes torn. "You are powerful. The pestilence mutates within you, but I will adapt." He raised both hands, releasing a faint grey mist that filled the space between them. 96 didn't move for 2 seconds. Then it lunged again. Batman heard the scream from 4 blocks away. Every window in the building rattled. He turned sharply toward the sound and activated the communicator. Oracle, source of that noise. "Working on it," Barbara's voice replied quickly. It came from the tunnel network under the Narrows. Seismic readings spiked. That wasn't an explosion. "I'm going in," Batman said, already moving. He opened the old utility hatch behind the building and dropped down the ladder. The stench of sewage and rust hit him immediately. He turned on the thermal lens. 2 heat signatures appeared ahead, one humanoid, one massive. He moved quickly through the corridor, keeping low. The screams had stopped, replaced by heavy breathing and occasional wet impacts. When he reached the end of the tunnel, he saw them. 49 stood over a collapsed body, Bane, S. The tall, pale creature stood several feet away, facing the wall, body shaking. Batman stayed still. He recognized 49 immediately from the files Gordon had compiled after the warehouse incident. The doctor turned his head slightly, as if sensing him. Another observer. You should leave. This one is dangerous. Batman stepped closer. I'm not leaving either of you down here. 96's breathing grew louder. Don't move, 49 said. It reacts to attention. Batman stopped. What is it? A patient in distress, 49 replied. Its mind is fractured beyond repair. I must attempt to treat it. Before Batman could respond, 96 screamed again. The sound tore through the air, forcing him back a step. He raised his arm to shield his ears, the cowl's sensors flickering. The creature turned toward them. Batman saw its face for a split second. His muscles tensed involuntarily, heart rate spiking. 49's voice cut through the noise. Do not look at it directly. Too late, 96 lunged. Batman threw himself sideways as the creature tore through the wall where he had stood. Concrete shattered. Dust filled the tunnel. 49 was hit again, sent sliding across the floor. The pale figure turned, locking onto Batman. Its body blurred as it moved. He fired a grapnel shot into the ceiling, pulling himself upward just as the creature slammed into the ground below. The shockwave cracked the surrounding walls. Oracle, he said through the comm, voice steady despite the chaos. I need full containment response on my location. Now. I'm tracking you, she answered. Sending drones and backup. What's down there with you? Batman looked down. 96 was clawing at the wall, screaming at nothing, its body convulsing with rage. 49 stood again, straightening his torn robes. It cannot be reasoned with, 49 said. It must be subdued. You can't kill it, Batman replied. I do not kill, I cure. Before he could stop him, 49 advanced again. He reached for the creature's shoulder, but it turned too fast. Its hand connected with his chest, sending him into the far wall. Batman dropped down, landing between them. He threw a smoke grenade, filling the space with thick grey fog. We move now. I do not flee, 49 said. Then you'll die here, Batman answered. He grabbed the doctor's arm and pulled him back toward the access ladder. 49 resisted briefly, then followed. Behind them, 96 screamed again. The tunnel ceiling gave way. Water rushed through as pipes burst open. Batman activated the grapnel once more, pulling both of them up toward the surface. The current swept through the tunnel below, washing debris into the dark. They emerged in a side alley, both drenched. Sirens echoed in the distance. Batman pulled off his rebreather, catching his breath. 49 stood calmly, water dripping from his mask. You should not have interfered. You were about to get torn apart, Batman said. It would not have succeeded, 49 replied. My work is not finished. Your work is killing people, Batman said sharply. They were infected, 49 said. You will see soon enough. Before Batman could reply, a new sound rose, a low hum from the street behind them. He turned. Drones appeared overhead, black with faint blue lights. The Foundation insignia was printed on their sides. They hovered in formation, scanning the area. 49 looked up. They have come again. Their methods are crude but consistent. The lead drone emitted a burst of light. Batman's visor adjusted automatically. Through the glare, he saw 49 lift one hand toward it. The drones fired tranquilizer rounds. 49 stepped aside, catching one dart in midair. I do not require sedation. Batman moved between them. Stop, you'll bring more here. I am already hunted, 49 said. The drones descended lower. The speakers crackled with a mechanical voice. Entity 49, stand down for containment. 49 didn't move. You misunderstand. I'm not the one in need of containment. Batman's gaze shifted slightly as the air behind them distorted. 96 had followed. It stood at the far end of the alley, hands still covering its face, body trembling. The drones turned immediately, scanners locking onto the new heat signature. Target acquired, the voice said. SCP-096 confirmed. All units maintain visual avoidance. Batman felt the shift in the air. "Don't look at it," he said quickly. One drone turned too far. Its camera caught a full image of the creature's face. 96 screamed. The sound shattered glass for half a mile. The drones exploded almost instantly under the shockwave. The force threw Batman backward. 49 caught himself on the wall. The creature moved again, faster than sight. It tore through what was left of the alley, ripping through walls as it chased the remnants of the destroyed machines. 49 straightened his posture. Its rage will not fade until the infection subsides. Batman pushed himself up. "You can't cure that." "I can try," 49 said. He started walking toward the destruction. Batman followed at a distance. "You're not going alone." They reached the edge of the collapsed street. 96 was crouched in the wreckage of a car, still screaming, tearing through the debris. Foundation transport vehicles had arrived, soldiers setting up containment fields while avoiding direct sight. One of the commanders shouted through a loudspeaker, "Do not engage visually. Stay behind shields." Batman stayed behind a barrier, watching. "You have containment methods for this." The commander glanced toward him briefly. "We've handled it before. Pray you never see its face." 49 walked past the soldiers without hesitation. "You will fail again." "Stop him," the commander shouted. But it was too late. 49 reached the center of the field. 96 turned toward him, screaming once more. The foundation barriers began to bend inward from the sound pressure. Batman clenched his jaw, stepping forward. "Get everyone back." He moved toward the center as the ground cracked beneath them. 49 reached out again, placing his hand against the creature's chest. For a brief second, the screaming stopped. The entire street went silent. 96 stood still, breathing raggedly. 49's hand remained pressed against it. "It will not last," he said quietly. Then the creature threw him backward with one arm, sending him through a parked truck. Batman caught 49 before he hit the ground completely. The doctor looked up at him. "You see, it resists. The disease is deep." Batman said nothing. He watched as the Foundation teams reinforced the barriers again, light flickering around the field. 96 turned toward the east, body trembling. Then, without another sound, it vanished into the darkness. 49 stood slowly. "It will return. I must be ready." Batman faced him. "You're not curing anything. You're making things worse." "That is your opinion," 49 said calmly. "I will continue." Before Batman could stop him, 49 stepped into the shadows of a side street and disappeared. The Foundation teams began clearing debris. One soldier approached Batman. "You shouldn't have stayed this close, sir. It could have turned on you." "It still might," Batman said quietly. The soldier nodded once. "We'll track it, both of them." Batman looked up at the rooftops where the city lights flickered faintly through the rain. "You won't find them unless they want to be found." He turned and walked away as the containment vehicles loaded up. High above, 49 moved across the rooftops. His robes flapped lightly in the wind. He stopped briefly at the edge of a building, looking down at the streets below. "The pestilence spreads," he said softly. "I must accelerate the cure." Then he walked on, his footsteps fading into the rain. Chapter 10. Containment and Contact. The storm passed by dawn, leaving the streets slick and gleaming under the streetlights. Gotham was quieter than usual. The police had cordoned off several city blocks, but they still didn't know what they were looking for. The morgues were filling with bodies, all the same pattern, no face, no cause of death. Batman watched the cleanup from the top of a nearby building. His armor was scratched, torn from the encounter underground. The cowl's HUD displayed emergency frequencies from across the city, most of them filled with static. Alfred's voice broke through. "Sir, reports are spreading across social channels. People are describing what they think they saw. It's causing panic." "I'm already working on damage control," Batman said. His eyes followed the trail of a containment truck below, escorted by unmarked black vehicles. No GCPD tags, no Wayne Tech. And we have guests. Guests, sir. Same insignia I saw last night. Triangle with arrows. Ah, Alfred said quietly. Our new friends, then. The convoy stopped 2 blocks down. The trucks were matte black with reinforced plating. Soldiers stepped out wearing full armor, helmets with opaque visors. They moved with practiced precision, establishing a perimeter without speaking. Batman dropped from the rooftop, landing silently in an alley beside them. He stayed in the shadows, watching. The men deployed portable lighting and set up electronic barriers that hummed faintly once activated. Then someone stepped out of the lead vehicle. A woman in her 40s, short dark hair, grey field uniform marked with the same insignia. Her expression was composed but sharp. "Secure the north line," she ordered. Her voice was calm, clipped. "Avoid direct sight of the anomaly's path. Drone teams 1 through 3, stay mobile." Batman stepped forward into the dim light. "You're operating on my streets." Several soldiers turned instantly, weapons raising halfway before the woman signaled them down. She looked at him steadily. "You must be Batman." "Who are you?" "My name is Director Caldwell," she said. "SCP Foundation. We're here for containment." Batman's eyes narrowed slightly. "I've seen that name before. You were involved in the Metropolis incident." Caldwell nodded once. "Yes, SCP-682. We assisted Superman with the containment. This situation is related." He studied her posture, voice, movements. SCP-049 and 96. Her expression didn't change. "So you've already encountered them." 49 called himself a doctor. 96 doesn't stop once you've seen its face. "That aligns with our data," Caldwell said. "Both are high-threat anomalies. 49 is intelligent, capable of speech and self-control. 96 is purely reactive. It will kill anyone who views its face, regardless of distance." Batman looked toward the destroyed buildings down the street. "You've dealt with them before." 682 was our priority, Caldwell said. 49 and 96 were lost during transfer. We've been tracking them since. They're here now, which means Gotham's in danger. "Then you should leave," Batman said. "I'll handle it." Caldwell looked unimpressed. "You don't understand what you're dealing with. These are not criminals. They're not even alive in a way you recognize. 49 spreads infection. 96 kills anything that looks at it. Neither can be reasoned with." "I've dealt with worse," Batman said quietly. "Not like this," Caldwell replied. "You can't punch this problem." Batman folded his arms. "You're still here because Superman couldn't destroy 682. That means you need help too." She hesitated just a second before answering. "We're not here to destroy anything. We contain. You can assist if you follow orders." "I don't take orders," Batman said. Caldwell looked directly at him. "Then stay out of our way." He stepped closer, his voice dropping lower. "You'll get people killed if you try to operate here without coordination. You don't know this city. You don't know how fast panic spreads." She studied him a moment, then said, "We'll coordinate, on our terms. You'll have access to limited feeds, no internal data." "Fine," Batman said. "Where do you start?" Caldwell turned to one of her men. "Bring up the map." A soldier unfolded a portable projector that displayed Gotham's districts in blue light. Several zones glowed red along the river and near the Narrows. 49 has been sighted twice in the last 12 hours, Caldwell said. "He's gathering people, homeless, injured, gang members. They reappear days later changed. He calls them cured. We've seen this pattern before." "And 96?" Batman asked. "Contained temporarily," she said. "We lost it an hour ago during transport to our forward facility. It was drawn here after 49's energy spike. It's likely hunting him." Batman's eyes moved across the map. "So the two anomalies are on intersecting paths." "Yes," Caldwell said. Our containment teams will set traps across these points. Your job is to keep civilians out. I can do more than crowd control, Batman said. Caldwell gave a short nod. Then do it. They moved out within the hour. Foundation units split into 4 groups, each equipped with portable containment barriers, dampeners, and sonic disruptors. Batman joined the second team, led by Captain Reed, a tall man with a clean-shaven face and quiet focus. Your equipment, not from any manufacturer I've seen, Batman said, scanning the crates they unloaded. Custom built, Reed replied. We don't disclose specifications. Classified tech, non-lethal if used correctly. What happens if it's used incorrectly? Reed looked up at him. People disappear. Batman said nothing. He helped position a dampener node at the intersection of Burnley and Dixon. The device emitted a low hum when activated, forming a faint shimmer in the air. Barriers live, one soldier confirmed. Power levels stable. Reed turned to Batman. You see movement, you call it in. We don't engage until the director gives clearance. Batman's cowl lenses adjusted as he scanned the rooftops. 49 prefers lower ground, alleyways, tunnels, old infrastructure. You won't spot him from the street. Reed nodded. Then we start below. They entered the old subway access under the street. The air was thick with damp dust and the distant drip of leaking pipes. The Foundation team moved in formation, weapons drawn but muzzles low. Batman stayed ahead, his boots silent on the concrete. Any life signs? He asked. Negative, one soldier said. Thermals cold. Batman paused near a corner. Something had been written on the wall in dried, dark streaks. The cure will come. He examined it closely. 49's handwriting. He leaves these like warnings. Or promises, Reed said. They moved forward another 50 meters. Then came the sound, a slow, dragging noise, like cloth scraping against stone. The soldiers froze instantly. Batman raised a hand for silence. The sound grew louder. It was coming toward them from the darkness ahead. A figure appeared in the beam of a flashlight, tall, cloaked, moving with deliberate calm. 49 stopped when he saw them. His mask caught the light, cracked from the previous night's battle. Ah, the Foundation returns, and the Bat of Gotham, you move quickly. Caldwell's voice came through the comm in Batman's ear. Do not engage. Restrain and contain only. Batman kept his stance neutral. You're under containment order. 49 tilted his head. Containment is unnecessary. My work benefits you all. Reed raised his rifle, hands where we can see them. 49 ignored the order. You misunderstand. The pestilence spreads even now. I have cured many, but it is not enough. Batman's voice stayed steady. You're killing people. I am saving them, 49 said. Your city is diseased beyond comprehension. Even your masked vigilantes are symptoms. The soldiers moved to flank him. 49's tone sharpened. If you touch me, you risk infection. I would advise restraint. Caldwell's voice came through again. Deploy dampeners. Reed signaled. 2 soldiers activated cylindrical devices that emitted blue light. 49 stopped mid-step. His body stiffened slightly as the field engaged. Dimensional energy suppressed, a soldier reported. 49 looked around slowly. Clever, but temporary. Before Batman could speak, a new sound cut through the tunnels, faint at first, then rising. A scream. Reed's head snapped toward the noise. Contact from the east tunnel. Batman's eyes narrowed. It's 96. The scream grew louder, echoing through the underground. Foundation radios crackled with overlapping voices. Containment breach. Do not make visual contact. Eyes down. Batman switched his cowl to sonar mode, cutting visual feed entirely. The world turned to outlines and sound. Reed shouted, shut down all lights. The soldiers complied, plunging the tunnel into darkness. Only the dampener lights remained, flickering faintly. The scream reached them seconds later. The sound pressure shook dust from the ceiling. 96 barreled through the connecting tunnel, hitting the ground hard enough to crack the concrete. Batman moved first. Keep your heads down. He threw a flash charge toward the far wall, not for light, but for distraction. The creature turned toward the sound and slammed its claws into the wall, tearing through it. 49 watched calmly. It follows its own infection. It sees the sickness everywhere. Reed shouted, "Lock the barriers, now." The soldiers activated the final dampeners. Energy arcs snapped between the devices, forming a partial containment field around 96. The creature screamed again, clawing at the invisible barrier. "Field at 70%, a soldier called out. Batman moved closer, using the shadows for cover. "It's not going to hold long." "I know," Reed said. "We just need 30 seconds. Caldwell's voice came through the comm. "All teams, focus fire on the anomaly's base. Sonic pattern Delta 3. The soldiers switched weapons. High-pitched pulses filled the tunnel, vibrating the air. 96 recoiled slightly, covering its face with its long hands. 49 took a step forward. "You torture what you do not understand. This creature needs treatment, not violence." Batman blocked his path. "Stay back. You cannot stop me." "I don't need to," Batman said. "Just slow you down." He threw a shock batarang that hit the ground near 49's feet, releasing an electrical surge. The doctor stumbled but didn't fall. Reed's team continued firing. The creature's movements grew erratic. The containment field wavered but held. Caldwell's voice came again. "Maintain position. Do not approach." Batman's sonar registered 96 thrashing violently, trying to break through. He could feel the shockwaves through the soles of his boots. "Field integrity dropping," a soldier shouted. "We're losing it." "Fall back," Reed ordered. Batman grabbed 49's arm. "Move." They retreated toward the upper tunnel as 96's next scream shattered the dampeners. Energy flared, and the barrier collapsed. The blast wave sent several soldiers flying. Batman shielded 49, bracing against the wall. When the dust cleared, the creature was gone. Only deep claw marks remained along the floor and walls. Reed coughed, pulling himself up. "Casualties." "Two down," someone answered. "Others stable." Caldwell came through the comm. "All teams, regroup at surface level. We'll re-establish containment perimeter." Batman released his grip on 49. "You're coming with me." 49 adjusted his torn sleeve calmly. "You will not succeed, but I will allow it for now." An hour later, the Foundation's mobile command center was set up at the edge of the Narrows. Screens filled the interior, displaying heat maps, movement sensors, and drone feeds. Soldiers moved between stations, updating data. Batman stood near the center console as Caldwell approached. "You brought him in," she said. "That's more than we managed in 3 months." "He came quietly," Batman said. "He won't stay that way." "Then we keep him under observation," Caldwell said. "Our goal is still containment. 96 remains at large. If it sees anyone again, we'll lose more than a few blocks." Batman looked at the monitor showing the city grid. "We can use 49. He knows 96's behavior." Caldwell frowned slightly. "You think we can trust him?" "No," Batman said, "but he wants to cure it. That's enough." Caldwell nodded once. "Then we move tonight." In a sealed containment cell nearby, 49 sat calmly on the reinforced bench, hands folded in his lap. His mask was cracked, but his posture remained composed. A guard watched through the glass. "Creepy bastard doesn't move." Caldwell entered the observation room with Batman. "He's calculating," she said. "Always waiting." Batman looked at the doctor through the glass. "He'll talk when he's ready." As if hearing them, 49 turned his head slightly toward the window. "I am always ready," he said, voice calm and even. Shall we begin? Chapter 11. The Hunt Beneath the City. The Foundation Command Center buzzed with quiet movement. Screens filled with shifting heat maps of Gotham's underground districts. Lines of soldiers in matte armor checked gear and verified containment seals. The air smelled faintly of metal and disinfectant. Batman stood near the primary table, studying the holographic projection of the city grid. Director Caldwell was beside him, tablet in hand. She looked tired but focused. Every tunnel entrance from the Narrows to Old Gotham has been scanned, she said. We've narrowed 96's likely route to 3 access lines. It's traveling mostly through abandoned sections. We'll set up dampeners at each choke point. Batman's gaze moved across the projection. It's hunting 49. Caldwell nodded once. The last seismic event lines up with his containment facility. It's moving there. And 49? Batman asked. In lockdown, she replied. He's been cooperative, claims he can soothe 96 if brought close enough. That's not a good idea, Batman said flatly. I agree, Caldwell said. But if his knowledge lets us anticipate movement, we'll use it. We've lost 12 men already trying to track 96 by conventional means. Captain Reed approached with a tablet of his own. Field teams are ready. Drones 1 and 2 are online. Tunnel humidity is interfering with long-range sensors, but we'll manage. Caldwell turned to Batman. You'll lead Recon Team 3. You know the layout better than any of us. Batman looked at the equipment racks. I'll need your visual filters, anything that blocks direct exposure. Reed handed him a compact visor module, polarized triple-layer shielding. The feed converts to outline imaging only. You won't see a clear face. Batman attached it over his cowl lenses and tested the overlay. The world turned into a set of sharp outlines glowing faintly blue. It'll work. Caldwell said, We'll monitor from here. Keep comms open. If you lose contact, fall back to the dampening line. Batman gave a short nod and walked toward the